Hello and welcome back to my channel where I share with you my adventures in fiction. I am so glad to finally share with you the setup for my 2025 reading journal, which I like to call my book journal. As you may know from my 2024 reading journal setup video, you would have learned that in my reading journal I like to document more about the books that I read themselves rather than like my actual reading, so I like to call it my book journal instead. So I know this is coming out a little bit later in January. I just was a little bit busy, so I didn't get a chance to film this sooner, but I did want to share how I set up my 2025 journal. I'm super excited. I really love the theme that I chose for my journal for this year, and I'm also really excited because I ended up getting a larger sized journal this time. So I don't remember what the scale is. I think this might be like B5. It's definitely a size up from the journal I had last year. This journal is from Notebook Therapy. It is called the Lunar Spells Journal, which I really love. I think it was part of their Halloween collection, I want to say. It might still be on their website, but I absolutely love this. It has like a velvety kind of texture. I love this beautiful like magic book with a hand with a magic wand, and then you see like the moon and stars, and I think that's super whimsical. I love the different gold embossing, and it also has similar stars on the side, and then the back looks very similar to the front as well. I love that along the spine it also has some gold like sprayed edges, and it also has the stars on the side as well. So I really love this, and this I chose this journal because it went with the theme that I wanted to go with for this year. But what I love to do is read the quote that they have in the back of their journal, because I think this is super fun. I like that they do this. So for this journal it says, "Embrace the mystic of the night with lunar spells, where every touch whispers magic and every moment shines with moonlight wonder." I just think that's super fun. So going to the inside of my book journal here, so I ended up drawing a map. I drew a map for my first journal as well. This is a little bit different though. So my journal theme for this year was a magic school. So the map that I've drawn on the left side is of the school building. So in this world that I've created, there's this magic school that has 3 different levels, and basically my thought process for how I designed this was each of the classrooms are numbered, and that represents the page number in my journal. I've also created on the 3rd level the library, which is part of my journal as well, which we'll get to shortly. So that's kind of where my library spread is set up, and then the other 2 levels are kind of like based off of the page number in my journal. So basically like wherever one class is, it kind of represents like that same page number in my journal. This will make more sense as we go, but that's what this is. And then on this side here, this is like an athletic field. So I decided to go with like a lacrosse theme for my field. I feel like, I don't know, maybe preppy schools play lacrosse, I don't know. So I decided to draw a lacrosse field here, and then I had this scrapbook paper that had this really fun "This book belongs to" design, so I cut that out and stuck it on the front of my journal here. Normally there is like a line for you can put your name and all that, but I decided to cut this out and stick it on top because I thought it kind of matched the vibe of my journal. I did cover up my name and my number here, but yeah, so this is the inside. I hope to continue to draw a map in all of my journals in the future. I just think that's super fun, but we'll see how that goes. I hope that I continue to do it, but I wanted to do it again for this journal as well. So flipping to the first page we have here, this is my title page. So I have a image here of the magic school. This graphic I created with Bing AI image generator, and then I purchased some clip art, kind of like dark academia themed clip art with some magic school stuff. And I will list in the description box below where I got these clip art images from if you're interested as well. So on the left side here, I have my 2025. I ended up using like some wax seal clip art and then just put these kind of like stamped numbers on top. So it kind of looks like it was an actual wax seal. And then I have my books. I have a key. Say welcome. So it's like now you've gained entrance into the school. This scroll here says Magical Academy. So this is kind of like your entrance letter scroll. And then I have down here just my book journal header on some scrapbook paper that I've drawn to look like a scroll as well. So that's my cover page. We'll go ahead and flip to the next page now. So this here, we'll start on the left side here. So this is supposed to be my index page. So instead of labeling it my index, I've titled it New Student Class Schedule. So this is kind of like, here's your schedule as a new student to this Magical Academy. And this is supposed to represent the index where it will show you where each of the classrooms are. So basically under the subject header, I put all of the titles of my different book spreads. And then where it says room number, that's where I just put the page number. So it's supposed to kind of correlate again where with the map where it has the different classrooms. So like my books recommended page is on page 4. So that's like in classroom number 4. That's kind of what the theme was for this. Again, I have another scroll here. So this is kind of like your class schedule, your entrance scroll, entrance papers. And then at the bottom here, I have some clip art of a bookcase and a chair and a desk. And this was supposed to kind of represent like you're in like maybe the head principal's office, you're getting your schedule. Yeah, so that's kind of like the theme for this side. I definitely made my index a little bit smaller than my last journal because I ended up like not taking up like most of the space. So hopefully this will be a little bit more filled up this year. And then on the right side here, this is my first spread in my index. So the books recommended pages here. Let me back up and preface by saying, in case you have not seen my first video going over the setup for my 2024 journal, I like to kind of do like a theme, but it's also like you're walking through a story. So my first journal was about like a magical world where there was like book related places and there was like this princess and a floating castle, and each spread kind of represented a place on the map that I drew in the very front of the cover. So with this journal as well, you'll see that it's kind of like you're going through kind of a story. So with this magic school theme, I wanted to kind of make it where like you're like a new student at this school and you're kind of like walking through your different classes and kind of going about your day like you would if you were a student at this magical academy. So that's why my book journal is set up the way that it is. So hopefully that makes more sense to why I did what I did with my journal spreads. So going back to the books recommended page, this was kind of like you're leaving the main office and now you're walking down the hallway. I have this clip art image of a student with a book in her hands. And so this is supposed to be kind of like you're walking through the hallway and maybe you meet some different classmates who are reading, and so they may recommend you some different books. So I've created this like chart here, and I've numbered 1 through 23. There's not a specific reason why there's 23 lines. That's just whatever I had space for. I'm hoping to fill this up more because last year I didn't really utilize it that much. So I'm going to try to use this a little bit more this year. Hopefully, I'm sure I can fill up 23 spots. If you have any recommendations for me, please let me know in the comments below, and I can definitely add this to my books recommended spread. So yeah, so this is like you're walking through the hallway, and hopefully you would get recommended some books by some other classmates you would encounter. So that is what the theme is for this spread. We'll go ahead and go to the next spread here. So this next spread here is my books bought spread. The theme for this spread here is history class. So I wanted to kind of associate the subject with the theme or the topic of my spread. So since this is my books bought page, this is supposed to kind of keep track of my purchasing history. So that's why this is history class for this spread. So I've got some different like sculptures here. I have a globe. I have decorated with some like map scrapbook paper and washi tape. And then I also decorated with various books as well. So that's what the theme is for this spread. I already added one book already because if you've seen my recent short, I did go book shopping and I ended up getting this gorgeous edition of The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman. So I already have one there. And I'm pretty sure I will fill up this entire page because last year I ended up filling up my entire book spot spread and I would have had more to add, but I didn't have any more space. So I hope this will be, I'm sure this will be filled up, but I'm also hoping that giving myself so much space will also help me kind of limit how many books I buy. So I did pretty okay last year, so we'll see what it's like this year for me. And then moving on to my next spread here, this is my book log spread. So for the theme for this spread is supposed to be English class or like literature class. So since this is like a book log, you're kind of tracking when you start and finish books. This is kind of supposed to be like similar to like literature or English class where you're reading a lot of literature, and so that's why I associated this subject with my book log. I already started reading one book, which I'm a little bit behind on reading for this month, again, just because I've been really busy. But my hope is that I will finish the Six of Crows duology for the month of January. So I've already started this book, and hopefully I will finish it soon and then get on to Crooked Kingdom. I'm really liking Six of Crows so far. I was really excited to read it last year and then didn't get to it, so I've moved it on to my TBR for this year, and I'm glad I'm doing that because so far it's really, really good. So I'm hoping that I really enjoy the rest of the book and also enjoy the sequel as well. So kind of going with the literature theme for this spread, I've got like various book stacks everywhere. I've got another desk here with piles of books, and then I also have like a journal over here with a feather quill, so you can kind of like keep track of the books that you've read. And then I've also got like a little image of like a little like bookshelf. So that was the theme for this spread. And then moving on to my next spread, this is my reading tracker. So this is where I track how many days I read in a month. So far I've only read one day in January, which is pretty awful, but again, I am getting to it. I hope that I finish the books that I have set for this month. So the theme for this spread is like astronomy class. So basically it's supposed to be like, you know, you're examining the stars and the planets and how they, you know, move in outer space. And so this is kind of like you're keeping track of the movement of the planets. And so like as Earth is rotating and moving around the sun, you are keeping track of every day that, or I'm keeping track of every day that I read. So that's why I decided to do this theme for this spread. So I have an image down here of a kind of like a, like what do you call it? Like a, there's like a name for this and I can't think of what it is, but like a place where there's like a big telescope. It has like an open ceiling so you can like look into the sky. And then on the sides I've drawn some, it was supposed to be kind of like colorful smoke or like magic. And so I have like some books and then I have different planet stickers. I really like this spread a lot. I think it's kind of like a nice little pop. Since the rest of my journal is supposed to be kind of like moody and like dark academia. So it's kind of a nice little pop of color in the middle. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, so this is my reading tracker spread. Going on to my next spread here, this is my book tracker spread. So every time I finish a book, I will color in a box My goal for this year is 25 books, which I'm really hoping I will get to. Last year my goal was 24, and I ended up reading 22 books, so very, very close. So I'm hoping I can up it and actually meet my goal this year of 25 books. So the theme for this spread is supposed to be math class, because you are basically adding up numbers. So I'm adding up the number of books that I've read in a year. So that's why this theme is supposed to be math class. So I have some various like scrapbook paper with different like diagrams and equations, obviously books as well. I have this image that I created down here of just like a notebook with some different math equations and notes, and then I also have a calculator up here. It's a little bit more plain, I think, than the rest of my spreads, but I feel like I wanted to kind of keep this a little bit simpler. And I feel like I had debated about like adding more elements to these spreads, but I feel like it would have looked a little bit too cluttered. So I think I'm okay with it being a little bit more open. And I think when I actually start coloring in the boxes, it will look a little bit more filled up as well. So yeah, so this is my book tracker spread. And then moving on to my next spread here, this is my 2025 TBR spread. So I have already chosen the 25 books that I hope to read this year. So I have moved over Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom onto this spread because I didn't get to it last year and I really wanted to read these books, so they're over here. And then I have the Graceling series and the Blythewood series, the Three Dark Crowns series, and then all of this is the Mortal Instruments with some other, I know there's like Infernal Devices. Basically, I have been wanting to like dive into this universe for so long, but there's so many books that I was like, I have to just like spend a whole year reading them. So I have a lot of the books here already. Hopefully maybe 2026 I will get to the rest of them, but I think this gives me a good start, and I wanted to read them in chronological order, so I looked up like a list online of how I should read them. So this is like the order that I came up with, and then hopefully, like I said, I will eventually get to the other books maybe in the following year, but I think this will be a good start. I'm really hoping that I like these books a lot because obviously they are taking up basically like half the number of books I wanted to read this year, so hopefully I really enjoy these books. So the theme for this spread was supposed to be like lunchtime, so like this is like the courtyard of the school, and like there are picnic tables out there, and then this is kind of like at the bottom I used some scrapbook paper that has like that looks like wood, and so this is kind of like maybe another table. This image I created also with the Bing AI image generator, and then cut it out, and then I also drew like the kind of like sidewalk area with my markers. And then I have down here some clip art of some lunch boxes, which I think are super cute. So it's kind of like the theme, the reason why I decided to go with like lunch in the courtyard for my TBR is kind of like, which story am I hungry for next? So that's kind of why I decided to do this theme for my TBR, which I think is pretty clever, and I really like it. I don't have obviously a lot of like lunch elements here. I just have 2 lunch boxes and a sandwich, but I did play around with some other stickers and I just felt like it looked a little bit too busy. So I feel like it looks good. I feel like I'm happy with the spread and how it turned out, even though it does have just very minimal stickers. But I do really like that I drew this, the rest of the walkway. I do feel like I really like that a lot. And I just had a lot of books, so they did take up most of the space on my pages. So yeah, so that's my 2025 TBR spread. Go ahead to the next page here. So on the left side here, this is my book bingo spread. The theme for this page was chemistry class, or like potions. So basically, the thought process behind this was, you know, you have to combine certain elements in order to make this final product. So basically, like, it's kind of like experimenting and adding, you know, as I read books, I'll be coloring in these boxes, and then it's like when you get the, you know, correct, you know, number of boxes in a row, that's when the potion comes out to be what you want it to be. Like the ingredients are correct in a sense. So I have these different clip art images of some different students who are working with like cauldrons and different potion bottles. I have some different potions here as well. And then I have this really cute book clip art image that also says potions. This year I tried to be a little bit more adventurous with my book bingo prompts. So I got a lot of ideas from online spreads. I did try to find some that, again, I think were realistic for me that I could accomplish in this year, but I did try to get some that were like, okay, I could do that. Maybe if I go out of my way, I could probably do that one, or there's a chance that, you know, one of my books is like that or whatever. So I try to be a little bit more adventurous with what I did. So we'll see. Last year I was able to do, I was able to get a bingo rather quickly, I think because I, again, was trying to make prompts that I knew I could accomplish. So I think this one will be a little bit more challenging, which I think will be good. So I can give myself like more time to try to get a bingo. So I think that'll be really fun. And then on the right side over here, this is where I list the Copile rating system. So this rating system was invented by the booktuber Plant-Based Bride, and I included it in my 2024 reading journal, and I really liked it a lot. I think it helped me get a better sense of like how to rate a book, and so I wanted to include it again for my 2025 book journal. So I have included it again in here. I've drawn kind of like some gothic letters and then colored it in with some metallic gold, which I really like. I like the way that it looks kind of like archaic, kind of ancient looking. And then I have like all the descriptions of each category and then how to calculate your score to get your star rating. So the theme for this spread was supposed to be kind of like spell class. So you're learning how to cast spells, and so you have to have the right, you know, the right words, you have to have the right, you know, elements in order to create that spell. And so you're thinking about what the book should be rated and kind of using each of these categories as like the components of how you get your final score. And so it's kind of like, you know, you're taking all these components of a spell in order to get your final product. So that's where I came up with the theme for like a spell class for my rating system. So I've drawn some, or I have clip art of various magic wands and wizard hats, and then I have a clip art of a student down here with a magic wand as well. So that's what the theme was for this spread. And then moving on to my next spread here, this is my library spread. I did think about potentially changing the title of this to be like my books read, but I already added the school library scrolls at the top, so I decided just to keep it. But I wanted to do a little something different for this spread. So last year I drew like a secret library, and I had like different bookshelves with lots of empty books where I could color in when I finished a book. But I left a lot of books blank because I didn't read as many books as I wanted to, and even if I did reach my goal, I definitely drew more books than I was planning on reading anyways, so it just kind of looked a little bit too open. So for this year I wanted to make sure that like I made it realistic and was able to mostly fill in all the books that I put on this spread. So what I've decided to do instead was I created just these like clip art images of blank books, and so there's obviously significantly less blank books, but that way I could at least fill in most of them and feel like it didn't look so empty at the end of the year. So the theme for this spread obviously is the library in the school. So this might be like when the student has like a study hall, they'll come to the library to study. So I've created these background images of the library with the Bing AI image generator. And then I also have these clip art images of desks and chairs and books. And so what I've done here is I've added some other like book clip art here, and then there's like some magic wands, and so it's kind of like they're pulling books off the shelves and then like putting them on the tables. And so after I have read the books, then I will color them in. But it's kind of like they're pulling the books from the shelves, and those are the books that I'm going to have read this year. So that's what the theme was for these spreads. So I think what I've done, I think I have like 30 something books total, which I think will work a lot better for me. I wanted to like give myself a little bit extra because in the case that I did read more, which I don't know if that will happen, but if I do, I wanted to make sure that I had extra books to fill in. So I wanted to make sure that I would be able to have some extra blank books in the case that I did exceed my goal. So, but there's obviously, again, significantly less books, but that's just to make sure that I do fill in most of them and it doesn't look so empty. So that's that spread. And then moving on to my final spread here. This is my book bracket spread. And so the theme for this one is supposed to be like PE class or physical education class. So again, kind of going back to the school map where I drew the lacrosse field. So I wanted to kind of incorporate a kind of sport. So I decided to go with lacrosse. But maybe there's like some magical elements to it, some different ways of playing the game. So I have also some clip art of, again, some students down here with their magic wands. And then I have a lacrosse goal on top of the best book of the year, which will go here. And then obviously a trophy for the winner. In the clip art that I did purchase from Etsy, it also came with this like Quidditch ball as well. So maybe again there's like some magical elements to like how they play lacrosse. So I kind of did a little bit of both, a little bit of kind of Quidditch but also lacrosse. And so I have like some scrapbook paper of like sky at the top and some grass at the bottom to kind of represent like the field. And then of course I have my various boxes that I'll fill out throughout the year to find out my best book of 2025. So this is the last spread that I have for my journal. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. I love the way that I set it up. I love this like magic school theme. I think that was super fun. And I'm really excited that, again, this journal is larger, so I'll have more space to write down various information about the books that I've read. But yeah, that was my setup for my 2025 book journal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've created a journal for this year and you have a specific theme, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Or if you haven't done a reading journal before, I would highly encourage you to do one if you're thinking about it. Having a reading journal has truly helped me keep on track with my reading goals and kind of push me to read more. And it also has kind of just been like an outlet for creativity. I love being able to like decorate my book pages and just decorate different spreads for the books that I've read. It's just kind of been very therapeutic, and so I think it's been really great for a number of reasons. And I would say that like it doesn't even matter if months go by and you know you're still wanting to do a reading journal. I think you should totally go for it. You do not have to start January 1st of 2025. You literally could do it any time of the year. And I think if a journal would help you read more or be more accountable, then I think that's great. You know, it's for your own personal benefit and no one else's. So also let me know which books you're reading this year. I would love to hear about the books that you're reading, as well as, again, any book recommendations you have. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my setup for my 2025 book journal, and I hope to see you in my next video.